Hello, thank you for joining in for this week's video of Project 52. This week we are making the 39th track of this year, and if you are new here in Project 52, we try to make 52 tracks in 1 year. So without further ado, let's jump straight into Ableton Live and make this week's track. Alright, here we are, and as you can see, I already have something laid out in the DAW. This is something I came up with yesterday and thought it could be a cool idea for this week's track. Before we jump back into production though, I'll first show you the idea that I have so far. So just play you the full thing. It's not very long, so it shouldn't take a long time. Then I'll show you all the tracks that we have in the project so far, just like going through them if you are interested of the building blocks of this week's idea. And then, as I said, we'll just get back into production and try to finish the track hopefully today, as it's Tuesday already. Tomorrow I have to have the video up. So again, I had a lot of things to do last week, so I didn't have time to produce, but it's fine. I am sure we are able to finish the track today, and if not today, I'll do it tomorrow and try to rush through the editing and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm not too worried. I'm sure we are able to do it. So with that, let's just get right into this week's video and start by showing you the idea that we have in the DAW so far. So here is the track. I hope you like it. And that's it. As I said, I haven't gotten very far yet, but that's a good thing. We can try to come up with the core hooks and the main ideas for the track together today, and hopefully we are able to do it on camera. Usually I'm struggling to come up with ideas more when I'm filming for some reason. Maybe there's some sort of pressure, I don't know. But hopefully we are able to come up with the main hook and I don't know, some sort of melody or something on top to make the track a bit more memorable, I guess. Anyway, I think it's a pretty cool idea. Kind of reminds me of like Pirates of the Caribbean or something like that. So I think that's the vibe we are going for this week. Alright, so quickly going through all the tracks that we have in the project so far, starting from the kick drum. It's just like this stomp sounding thing. That's all it is. And then in these sections or this part, we have a kind of ramp to the, like in the transient, and I guess it's not made any quieter. It's the same volume, but what the ramp does, it makes it sound like it's being kind of played a little bit quieter, even though it isn't. So just have a listen. Then we have a very basic hi-hat. I've taken out some of the high end to make it a bit darker, and it's playing in the background throughout the whole idea. Then we have a percussion thingy as a snare or a clap. No idea why I decided to use something like this, but it's there. And then lastly, we have just some cinematic percussion. Then we have a bass made in Faceplant, and I've also added quite a bit of processing for my standards. At least we have Cramit, and then one normal EQ, one mid-side EQ, and then SSF doing a volume automation thingy. It goes like this. And the Faceplant patch looks like this. Then in the leads we have a group of 3, which I'm not actually sure why I have grouped these, but well, we can keep them that way, it doesn't matter. The first one is an Analog Lab preset, which sounds like this. And this is the MIDI that it's playing. And then I just layered with that a single B1 note playing in the same rhythm, and using also a preset from Analog Lab, and it's from DX7, and it's just like this 80s bass sound, but for some reason it just worked as a layer. On its own it sounds like this, and with the other sound. And then the third sound is a Faceplant patch, which is just giving it a bit more body and lower mids in the sides as well. We are using Unison for this first analog oscillator here, and on its own it's very plain and sounds kind of bad even. It sounds like this. But with the other stuff it's pretty good. The final sound in the green leads group is a violin or like a string type thing. I think it's just a combination of two presets from Pigments and from Emulator 2, and it sounds like this. I mean, it sounds like a cello or something. And together with the other sounds, it's a pretty nice addition, I think. Lastly, the two effects. The first one is something like this. It actually has two furthers. So the first one is a tree mode, and it's full size, so it's huge, and there's a lot of what it's called pre-delay. So it's coming in kind of very late. We have a little bit of the tri-signal mixed in, but like just for the reason that we also have something immediately. But I didn't want the tri-signal to kind of bleed through, which is why I added another further without the tree mode and a lot shorter size, and just cranked up the mix knob or the reverb knob, which is kind of the mix knob, all the way up. So we have a full wet, and with that I got this lush sounding reverb that's still kind of responsive, and it sounds like this. Actually, I'll first play the sample without the furthers. So without furthers, the sample sounds like this. And with the two furthers, it sounds like this. Then the last effect is just an cymatics impact, which worked pretty well, so I just decided to go for it. And it also has some further to give it some space. All right, that's the breakdown of the project. Let's jump straight into the production and maybe start by trying to come up with the hook for the track. Thinking of a chord change here. All right. Maybe we can go to G. Something is not right. All right, I don't think we can do that. I think the problem is due to the melody. So I'll try to come up with a better one. I think that melody just somehow led me into thinking that we should go to G major, I think. But it doesn't work. Okay, and now I'm kind of curious if we could find a better sound, because I do like the violin and it does remind me of Pirates of the Caribbean or whatever, but do we really want to do something like that that's already been done? And to be clear, I'm not saying that I'm Hans Zimmer and I'm able to do a better job than him, which is exactly why I think that we should try to do something more unique, because we are never going to be able to do something as cool. And if it reminds the listener of something else that's cooler, why bother trying to make something like that? Because if you make something unique, you make something that can't be compared to anything else, and therefore you can't really be judged. The listener can either like it or dislike it, and like if they don't like it, that's fine. Then it's not their type of music, but at least anyone can say like, hey, it's way worse than the Pirates of the Caribbean theme, you know? Okay, anyway. So that's my reasoning. Let's try to look for another sound for the melody. See, like, it's immediately more mystical and it's not reminding you of something else and you get distracted, you know? I think I'm gonna do something weird here, so bear with me. Let's see if it will work. I think it should be a bit more mono. No? Anyway, let's keep using this sound. It's fine. Let's try to figure out the next section. Should we introduce like a new kick? Like a totally different drum vibe. That could be the one. I could be the one to make you feel that way. Let's jump into Splice, try to look for a hi-hat loop. To be clear, I have no idea what I'm doing here. I'm just like starting a totally new track here apparently. I don't know if it works with the other stuff. It's weird, but I kind of like it. Jeez. Oh my god, I didn't even know this is possible. Behold. It sounds like the track is like starting here. I don't have time to start the track here. I already need the track to be in a good place at this stage, but I don't know. Needs to be wider. Let's add further. What if we do something like this? That's kind of awesome. That's so cool. Okay, that's enough of messing around. Then we need a bass. Oh my god, the sub is so low. 30 hertz. That's too low for sure. Now if we find our chords already. to sidechain the bass. This sound doesn't work. It just doesn't work. We'll have to change it. Alright, that's pretty good. I think I'll pause the recording here and get something to eat, and let's continue in an hour or so and still try to finish the track today, because it would be better for me to get the production done today, and tomorrow I could do the mixing and mastering after I have got some sleep. Because for me at least, it's usually better to do the mixing in a separate session in a separate day, so you don't have the what do you call it, like, you know, when your ears get tired of the day's production, fatigue, is that the right word? Maybe it is. You don't have the fatigue of the day's production, so it's easier to do right decisions in the mixing part then. So that's the plan. Let's try to finish the track. I have no idea what I'm doing here, to be honest. I think this new part is pretty cool, but I still don't have a clear vision of how we are gonna turn this into a kind of a full thing. Let's try to figure that out soon. I'll get something to eat and I'll come back to you in just a moment. Okay, we are back. So I already forgot where we left off, so let's just have a listen to the track. Okay, I don't think my little delay trick works here in this part, so we should probably just get rid of it. Would it be weird to go for B major instead? The major is too weird. Still think that we need something there. Like, it can't just be empty like that. We need some sort of like something to like represent the lead. Otherwise it's just gonna sound like an instrumental of a track, which is fine, but yeah, I don't know. I'll try, and if it doesn't work out, I'll forget about it. tell with this track anyway? I'll have to move on. I cannot figure out a melody for that part, so I'll forget about it and just try to move on with the arrangement. So I think we are gonna copy these and we are gonna do some sort of filtering trick for them. I'm just doing stuff and I hope it will work in the end. Okay, that could be it for the arrangement. I'm not sure. I mean, of course, I can just decide to be sure. So maybe we'll just declare that as the arrangement. Let me just look for some tiny details that we could work on before we wrap up for today. And that should be it for week 39. On that. All right, that's a good melody, I think. So let's just add another layer for the second half where we have a just kind of a wide super saw thing on top. We make the hi-hat a bit wider. It's very mono at the moment, as you can see. So what if we did something like this? And would bring in Nays only for the second half. So we would do something like this. Wait, where does it start? It starts here. And then we would do this cool kind of automation of the release for like at the end of every bar or every second bar or whatever, just to make it sound like it's an actual hi-hat that you are kind of opening the pedal with. So let's see. I'm gonna disable Nays again for this section. It's quite subtle, but it does make it a bit brighter. All right, that's good enough. That's pretty cool, right? I'll end the video here. I think this is enough for production. Like the things that I'm gonna do tomorrow, if I'm even going to do anything with the production anymore, are going to be very minor. So that's not something that I necessarily need to film, I think. And then of course at the end of this video you'll end up hearing the full track anyway, so there you will hear all the small details that I added or didn't add or took away from the track. So that's always kind of a nice surprise, I think, at the end where you hear the full and finished piece. Thank you so much for spending this week once again with me. It's been a blast so far. Week 39, we are very far already. The end of the year is almost approaching, not quite, but it's been so fun. I hope you enjoyed the series as well. If you would like to join the challenge of producing these weekly tracks with me until the end of the year, be sure to join the Sixth Temple Discord server from the link down in the description. On the server we have a Project 52 text channel where each week we share the tracks that we made and also give feedback to others. So if that sounds like something you might enjoy, we would love to see you there. If you'd rather just follow my journey here on YouTube, be sure to be subscribed from the button below, and while you're down there, please also press the like button if you enjoyed the video. I guess that's all for this week. Thank you so much again for watching. That was week 39 of Project 52. Next week we are doing the 40th week of this year. I hope to see you then. Have a good one. Bye bye. Alright, and also enjoy the track that I'm gonna play you right now. Alright, see you next week.